Welcome back to the gorgeous TBD podcast. This episode will be hosted by none other than me, Hank, and our lovely wives, Merrin, Averitt, and Corrie Hayes. This is going to be a special edition. We are definitely bringing in the big guns for this one. These are easily our better halves. So you guys might actually enjoy this episode, might actually get some real wisdom for once. But with this in mind, you're probably thinking, man, what deep sports talk are we going to be getting into with these intelligent women? And the reality is, as promised, we won't be. We will be jumping into a topic that is going to be a little bit more diverse and possibly more versatile for our audience, known as the cinema. And so we're excited for it. I think it'll be a fun blast. And basically, I have three main talking points for us to be thinking through with this episode. Point number one is going to be recapping and thinking back to 2023. What were some of the best movies we saw? Specifically movies that came out in 2023, but even if they didn't, we watched them in 2023 and enjoyed them a lot. Movies that we'll look forward to in 2024 and movies that we still want to see, recent releases, things like that. And maybe we missed it. And there may be some other questions I'll throw out. But definitely excited to get to share. I thought it was a really good year for movies. And so, man, looking at doing something different. I'm excited to hear these responses, but would love to just go ahead and pose that question, starting with 2023, for y'all, for Merrin. What did you feel like jumped out at you as a 2023 movie, whether it was in theaters, whether it was streamed, for you personally?
Well, I know that, Graham, we had talked about this. You brought up some points beforehand, and the one that definitely sticks out, and it's one of my favorite movies of the past few years, is Oppenheimer. We saw it this summer, and probably to mixed reviews just based on the content of the film, but I personally loved it. It was, it's a historical film, so it's not. It is nonfiction, so it was like I love history, and specifically the World Wars, and I think it just like the seeing into the life of Oppenheimer was so interesting, and it was really thought provoking, and of course Christopher Nolan, the GOAT, and my favorite ever director. I feel like he just did it again. He's just so good, and he came through once again in a beautiful way with just it was intense, very intense film. There was, of course, things that I could knock it for, but for the most part, I walked out like feeling very, very impressed and feeling like I could have endless discussion about it, a lot of talking points. So that comes to mind immediately. But there are others as well.
I feel like that was a very beautifully thoughtful and deep review.
Nolan, man.
Thank you.
Now, and when we say that, are we talking about it being a top 10 film for you, or is it just, as far as the year goes, your favorite?
I'd have to put my list together. I think it doesn't crack the top 10 of my favorite ever films, but it's in the top 30, definitely. Now, that being said, I'm not watching a film every night, but it's an upper tier, no doubt.
Now, with that said, I feel like we kind of almost have to ask, were you guys participants in Barbenheimer possibly, and what were your thoughts on the contrast between those, if that was the case?
You want to describe the movie-going experience we had going to see Oppenheimer with the, while Barbenheimer was happening? You remember the surrounding events?
Yes. When we walked into the movie theater, everything was pink.
Everything?
Wait.
Everything. Everyone was dressed.
Everyone was pink.
Everyone was pink. Girl.
Were y'all, by the way?
We did not. We actually wore our military uniforms, circa
hazmat suits.
Yeah, hazmat suits, nuclear. So
I had a fedora.
Corrie wore her finest fedora to match Mr. Robert Oppenheimer.
Yep.
No, but it was pink. Lot of girls, high school and below, dressed up in their finest pink Barbie gear and kind of goofy, can't lie. But that event was insane. That was like two of the biggest ever films coming out in the same week, and then obviously the release dates going on for however long it was in theaters, right? 2 months roughly, probably. I mean, it was ridiculous, and there's so many people, packed theaters constantly, and just it was kind of a spectacle. But it was a lot of fun. It's kind of very memorable. I think it's like, man, that was it's like it became an actual event.
When we saw Barbie, I feel like not even a lot of people were really wearing pink. Like, I wore my pink sweatpants, which Graham says are actually not pink; they're orange.
Well, they're actually dyed gray now.
Well,
so.
they're actually
But
they're
that's
brown.
besides the
But
point.
anyway, so there weren't a lot of people wearing pink, but there were girls like dressed up, wearing like tall heels, and like there was this one girl, and she was wearing like black, so I didn't really get it, but she dressed up like really tight black short dress, and she was just there with her mom and dad, and
Come on.
and they were sitting in front of us, and I was just confused about that the whole time. But
That's true.
That's a little awkward. I'm not sure how I feel if my daughter wore the tight pink skirt to Barbenheimer. We wouldn't see it.
Now, did you guys actually watch Barbie?
Yeah, full transparency. We didn't.
We didn't see
I've
Barbie.
been wanting to see it.
Yeah.
we haven't seen Oppenheimer.
So we are the opposite of y'all. We have not seen Oppenheimer. But I don't think that we went on Barbenheimer Day either.
No, it's just like a random.
We didn't go when did we go? We went pretty
week
soon
after it
after,
opened.
but not the release night or weekend.
Yeah, in fact, it may have been a Barbenheimer Day when we went to a concert downtown, and that was a wave, quite literally, of pink dressed people.
Oh, wow.
Mainly women, but I mean maybe some men too. But with that said, I mean, I know you guys possibly haven't watched it, but I know that Hank does personally love the soundtrack. It seems to be the case. Pink by Lizzo, and then of course the "I'm Just Ken" song.
Yeah, the Lizzo did not come to mind, but the I'm Just Ken did. And if you haven't seen the clip of, I don't actually know the award show, unfortunately, but I'm Just Ken won a musical award for film, and they cut to Ryan Gosling's reaction. He looked starstruck, like he can't actually believe it won, and it literally is because it is almost a joke of a song. But unfortunately for him, I think it is a really good song, to me at least.
Oh, yeah.
And
wait, is it unfortunate for him, do you think?
Yeah, I'm not too well. Part of the reason I say unfortunate is I think with the fame / it actually winning, he possibly could have to perform it live at the at the Oscars. So I'm not sure he personally wants to do that. And it would be, I think it'd be pretty hilarious to watch. So I hope it happens. And it's also good. So I would be looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, we might even have to at some point pull up the video and maybe stream it for the audiences of you performing that song with your chin. But we can maybe comment on that a little later.
Maybe.
But in my opinion, we're thinking about the Super Bowl coming up. I know possibly Usher is the halftime performer. I mean, I think we could possibly roll with the Barbie crew, and I would enjoy it more. Get Lizzo out there, get Ryan Gosling. Some of the other people, I know Dua Lipa is on the headliner. They could probably do a little better than Usher, I believe. But
I definitely agree. Usher feels like a foregone man at this point in terms of music. No offense to him, but yeah, there's definitely that soundtrack. It's a catchy one. That's needless to say.
It is. Yeah.
You know what else has a catchy soundtrack that came out this year?
What is it?
Wait for it.
It's coming.
Oh.
So yeah.
This is probably my favorite movie of the year. Oh, I keep getting blurred out.
You're good.
We saw it twice in theaters in 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Cried both times. Saw things I didn't notice the first time when I watched it the second time. Laughed at things I didn't notice when I watched it the second time. I feel like that's a great sign of a good movie.
True. Very true. Yeah, I have to say, and I think I mean, I think you agree. Is we wish we would have seen this one in theaters. I'm not actually sure it is in theaters anymore, but
Sure.
we definitely will be watching it at some point. And yeah, we were. I love the other, especially the old one. I know Graham and I have talked about this. The old Willy Wonka with Gene Wilder, a long time ago. I love the older one, so I'm
Mhm.
sure it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a star-studded cast. First of all, you have Timothy Chalamet, which, needless to say, is a heartthrob among many. And he's great. But you also have roped in there is going to be Keegan-Michael Key. You also have Hugh Grant, among others. And so I think that sets you up for some good success. And so we can say, at least for similarly to Barbie, I mean, these songs from Wonka have been stuck in my head for months, and I don't know that
I
necessarily
don't
means
think
that.
we watched it months ago. I think we watched it last month. But
Okay.
we have
That's 4
weeks.
months. And I don't know that necessarily equates to a movie being good, but aside from that, I actually concur. And if I'm gonna want a movie that I'm gonna turn on, and I want it to make me smile, make me laugh, and bring me to
And
tears,
cry, yeah.
I will turn on Wonka. There may not be a movie I'd turn on quicker, and I know that might be a pretty raving high review for it, but I know we personally did have that one high, and it truly may have been my top movie of the year, which I know I've watched some good ones. So would be a recommendation for me for sure.
I'm looking at we made like a list of things we watched this year, and actually I don't think it's my favorite.
Oh,
but
it actually probably is mine, and it kind of went hand in hand with us going on a Timothy Chalamet tour of sorts, with movies, because in fact I think it was maybe before our first time watching Wonka, or maybe it was after. We watched, and this is not a movie that came out last year actually at all, but it was The Little Women, the newer Little Women, 2019. Actually, even more of a star-studded cast, maybe one of the most star-studded casts I've ever could even imagine. Like, and that is actually true. You can look through it and it's unbelievable. But that actually instantly vaulted into my top 10 movies of all time. And so, that I know that's obviously not a 2023, but as we're talking about those top movies, I've bought into the Chalamet hype, I guess you could say. I don't necessarily know a lot about the personal life. I'm not a big pop culture guy, but just based off the discography or cinematography, and actually, I don't think that's the right word. Based on movies, I've enjoyed them. So,
have I seen the?
I don't think so, but I've wanted to watch it with you.
Now I gotta watch it.
Really good.
Oh, you guys would love it. Yeah,
it's so
I
good.
would love it personally.
Yeah,
I think you would too.
Corey, have you seen the older one?
Yes, I have.
I've heard good things as well. Is it good?
Yes, it's very good. There's an awkward scene where two of the characters kiss and the camera pans in, and so when they separate, you can see the spit bubble come off of their lip.
Come on.
It's a little disgusting.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's longer than the new one, but it's good in its own way. Besides that weird scene.
Yeah, I wonder if they meant to put that in. I mean, you almost wonder, you get to take mini cuts of movies. I'm just saying, and I guess they decided to leave that in. So maybe they saw it as a romantic thing.
Maybe they had a maximum amount of cuts for the specific scene. I'm not going to get to.
They were balling on a budget.
Exactly. Merrin, what? So you said Wonka may not have been your favorite film. So what was your favorite film?
So I'm kind of looking over here. We watched Hunger Games.
See, that's one we both have seen, so it might be worth.
We've all seen it, which is great.
And then the other one I'd say is the Spider-Man. Which one was it? Across the
Spider-Verse, yeah.
I loved it. Yeah, but
really good too.
I don't know between those two, just because they're so different. I mean, I guess all three of them are so different.
Yeah.
I think your favorite probably was Hunger Games. I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but
yeah, I don't know. All three of them made me very happy when I left. So.
Oh, the Hunger Games one did.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, that was great.
Were you happy leaving the movie right after you watched it?
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Definitely enjoyment factor.
Well, if you know Merrin well, you know that she loves the Hunger Games. And you know that one of her celebrity lookalikes is Prim, especially when she was a little younger. But
Very true.
What was it?
Yeah, well, sorry?
What'd you say?
I wanted to say we have discussed this not on the podcast, but Corey and I watched it at home, which is a much different viewing experience than the theater. I'll admit that. I would say, unfortunately, for any movie seen at home, it is going to probably bring down the viewing experience. That being said, I feel like Corey and I had pretty drastically different feelings about the movie, and that's not bad. But for when we are usually in agreement on most things, I would say all four of us when we're discussing something. So to have a bit of I feel like, unless you maybe change your mind about it, Corey, is a little interesting, the dynamic of disagreement here, because we personally, I felt like we're much more like that was kind of miserable to watch.
Who's we? Oh, me?
I don't know, but
Oh,
sorry. Yeah, sorry. Well, yes, you and I, when we watched together. Okay, I'm going to speak for myself, and then she can chime in.
speak from the eye perspective, man.
So I felt as if it was a bit miserable to watch. In the case of there was pretty much nothing fun and happy that happened in the movie. And maybe, again, some of my points I'll definitely take arguments against. But also, I just think, I don't know. There's a lot
we're
of
not mincing words here.
I will say, like, when I said I was happy when I came, like, I think the feeling more so is one of my biggest pet peeves is when I watch a movie and then say, oh, I wish I hadn't wasted my time with that. And so I think when I said I came out of it happy, like, what I meant is I was not disappointed after I watched it. And I think some of the reasons why I really enjoyed it, like Graham said, which this is kind of weird because most of my other movie preferences are either rom-coms or children's movies, but The Hunger Games is one of my favorite series. And I feel like watching this prequel, like, explained so much and, like, tied so many things together that when I was leaving the theater, I was like, now I need to watch all of the other four again and then watch this one again.
Yeah.
Sorry. I agree with you, Merrin, because I think maybe I don't want to speak for both of us, but I feel like going in, I had an expectation knowing that it wasn't going to be a redemptive story because it was President Snow's origin story on how he became the villain. And so I knew going into it that it was not going to have a happy ending. And that may have been where we were different. Is that although there were scenes that were hard for me, because just the last couple of years, it's just been harder for me to watch a more violent movie for some reason. I just feel way too much and I just feel sad. And that's where I don't really enjoy it as much. Overall, I think it was really well done. And I completely agree with you, Merrin, that it made me want to rewatch the other films because all of a sudden now so many things make sense. And I think that was really cool about the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Which that's a fair point about like having an expectation. Because that's probably why I didn't like Barbie as much. Because I was like thinking of watching Barbie Life in the Dream House, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be like this movie of real people, and it's gonna be like Barbie Life in the Dream House. And then it absolutely wasn't like that at all. And so I think that's why I probably didn't enjoy that one as much. I think even bringing in, like, I haven't seen this yet, but Mean Girls came out this year, and a lot of people are kind of, not as happy because it's a musical because they didn't expect it. Then other people that knew it would be were happy with it. So that might just be part of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it definitely contributes to it. Like what if you think one thing and get blindsided or something.
Yeah.
I also had maybe a more, I don't know, a view of kind of the other movies where it feels a lot different. And I think in my mind, I can't necessarily separate them. And so I just feel like I'm going to feel similar watching, like the classic Hunger Games movie to this one, and they're just very different stories, and have a different purpose, which is challenging. But I can see past that to an extent. Yeah, no, it was interesting. But it was good. I think I didn't enjoy it very much, but that's all right. And wish I would have seen it in years. That's okay.
I think it almost felt like, Hank, that you and I had a body swap as far as our views on this movie, because I did text our great friend John Cody, who, he did not like basically Avengers Infinity War due to the sad ending. Shout out to the man, he's a beast. But if you know anything about my views on movies, is some of my least favorite movies are movies that frustrate me because of really parts that I think are so stupid. Why did this happen? Why did this unfortunate injustice have to occur? I'll name a few. 1917, at the beginning of the movie, when his buddy gets stabbed by the German soldier, and I'm like, literally I can't even get over it throughout the rest of the movie. I hated that movie. No offense if you love that movie. And then I don't know. I'm blanking.
That's the main one.
I'm blanking on them now, but like
I've heard that one a couple of times.
Me too.
There's a lot of
Joker.
Joker, like just a movie about a guy, which you like that, by the way. Can we get that on the record that you did like that movie? That movie is torturous for me to watch. If you want to talk about a movie with no redemption, watch Joker. And I know that the second Joker is coming out this year, but I knew that it was going to. I even knew that it was going to be no redemption, and I hated it. I did not enjoy watching him spiral out of control. With this movie, I actually would stand by this. I felt like, because, like Corrie said, I knew what was going to happen. I knew it was a movie about snow. I actually felt like it was less frustrating than a movie like, was it Mockingjay Part 1 when Prim dies?
No, it's 2.
Okay, sorry if you haven't watched that. You're 10 years late or whatever. Mockingjay Part 2 is actually a more brutal movie to me than a movie like Songbirds and Snakes, just because I knew exactly what was going to happen. And I didn't read the book, so I didn't know what was going to happen in the Mockingjay movies. And as we see characters that die off that I've actually gotten to know throughout the course of multiple movies, that was more gut-wrenching. For this movie, I think what was cool is it felt like a tribute to the other movies. I'm thinking about whoever the guy that does the interviews for the characters, like getting to see that guy. Was it that guy's dad, possibly? Like that, those moments were really cool, getting to see the development of the care packages that they would send in throughout the movies, and just how that shifted and morphed over time, how the games and different quarter quells were designed. It was intense, a movie, but from a guy that actually hates like brutal movies, I actually enjoyed it. So I almost wonder if we had a mind swap there, just based on the fact that I hated Joker and in 1917 and things like that.
Did you see Joker in theaters?
I don't think I did.
Maybe we're seeing a theme here.
So maybe we can rent out a theater and watch it with you guys.
I think part of and I don't want to. We can move on from Songbirds and Snakes, but I think one of my thoughts is, and again, I might not be remembering perfectly well, but one of my thoughts is I'm not really feeling bad for snow. I think that's maybe something I feel different about with like Joker, for example. Is there maybe some injustice to where he is living a miserable life. He can't help it. And so it almost feels like you feel bad for him. I know that is a little goofy, but in this, it's like, I don't really feel bad for Snow. And then it's just, you see like a spiral. I don't know. That's where my mind goes.
I don't know. Somehow they really made me like him pretty quick in the movie. And I think the redeemable part was also like, I really liked the whole Lucy Gray and him dynamic. I thought it was fun and everything. I know. Yeah, that's all I'll say actually. But I maybe we could watch it again. I'm more surprised, but at the same time, like, that's great, man. Like we can good civil discourse here.
Definitely. Yeah. And Graham, you mentioned Air. That came out in 23 as well, early 2023.
It did, yeah. Did you watch that?
Yeah.
We both saw that.
Really good.
We missed out on that one.
Mhm.
It's yeah, especially for a basketball fan, it's really good. Really cool story of it's honestly in my opinion less about it's less even about Jordan and in my opinion and kind of the Nike story. It shows kind of the humble beginnings, and it's really cool, and it's really funny too, which is fun. But a lot of basketball weaved in, and a good bit about Jordan. But
yeah,
it's just cool. And I remember enjoying that one a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, we need to get that one
Mhm.
on the docket. I know you mentioned Spider-Verse. I think if we're talking about soundtracks, and there's a lot of good music that came from movies this year. If you get Sway Lee and Don Toliver on a soundtrack together, you're probably going to do some good things. So that was good, but I think also just like maybe that can lead us a little bit into what did you guys have any other big time highlights of 2023?
I'm trying to think. I don't know. No, I don't. Not from a 23 movies perspective. Probably not. No.
I think that may lead us into the fact that I think Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, or the third one,
The next one, yeah.
is supposed to come out this next year, and so definitely get on it with the second. But I think it probably will be later in the year. I know it's originally March and going to be coming up later, but I mean, I think we're definitely anticipating that one
for sure.
Yeah, those are good. Those kind of came out of nowhere for me. Like they just are really well made. And yeah, I mean, Spider-Man has now 1 million movies made about him, about the character.
And they're all good.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3 with Maguire, 1, 2, and 3 with Garfield. Now I believe 3 with why can't I think of his name?
Holland.
I think are they doing another one of those too?
I'm sure they are. I
thought Garfield only got 2.
That might be true. I'm not sure.
But we'd love to get y'all's theory or hear y'all's thoughts on this. I don't know, Corey, if you've seen many of those, but we were kind of saying that, would you want to talk about that at all? Or what we were saying about Spider-Man versus other superheroes?
Oh, you got it. I mean, I think it's mostly you. But...
I mean, we were just saying, like, you think about the main 3, I guess, in my mind, I think 3 main superheroes, it's going to be Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. And, there's others that are big, but Spider-Man movies somehow are always good. And that, at least that's my opinion. And then you have like Batman movies that can be here or they can be here. The Dark Knight trilogy, amazing. Robert Pattinson's Batman, solid. And then you have like Batman v Superman and like some of these other movies that are just trash, basically. Dumpster fire movies. Same with Superman. Like, I actually don't really know that I've ever seen a Superman movie and left and been like, and I'm so glad I watched that. No offense, but
has there ever been a good Superman movie?
I don't know. I would say no.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think maybe the Spider-Man films have been, blessed with great directors, and just maybe the storylines are a little easier to depict.
More relatable. He's a relatable guy.
Yeah.
Friendly neighborhood.
Yeah, definitely more relatable compared to
a young, silly
goober.
Like probably cute.
That's true, honestly. Especially Toby.
We actually were on a family Christmas trip, and my brother got really into watching the Spider-Man trilogy, especially the Maguire ones. Shout out Isaac. And I will say they are really goofy.
Yes,
when you watch them back, they're really goofy, and they're actually really fun to watch, in my opinion. But Tobey Maguire is a goofy guy.
Oh, I know. I love it.
The thing is, you say cute. I'm not exactly sure when I look at Tobey Maguire.
No, I was kidding. I was kidding by that. He's definitely not the
maybe
cute
the
one.
other 2 probably are the ones that
I would say Garfield's supposed to be more on like maybe the hotter spectrum, and then and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying maybe according to girls, and then Holland is kind of more cute. Sorry, and then I don't know. Morales, I guess, is pretty good looking. I know he's a cartoon, but
sure. What were you saying?
I said that he plays the perfect Spider-Man because he's.
Yeah, he's very good at it, definitely.
Toby is.
Yeah.
They cast it really well.
Yeah.
No, those are enjoyable.
Any big time movies y'all are looking forward to? Maybe ones that y'all missed out this year or in previous years, or specifically 2024. I don't know if y'all have gotten to look ahead at all.
The Flower Moon one.
Yeah, we're
Killers
dying to
of the
watch
Flower
Killers of
Moon.
the Flower Moon.
Oh, I haven't even heard about it.
What is that?
He might watch that with his mom in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it was one of the. It's a Martin Scorsese movie, so it's any movie he makes at this point is like one of the biggest movies of the year, at least in like film critics' eyes. I think for whatever just for whatever reason, maybe not as like big as it's not as big in the mainstream media necessarily.
Yeah.
But I think it's supposed to be really, really good, and we're gonna tune in. So we're definitely gonna be watching that over the next month, probably.
Personally, I want to see the French Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
I saw a trailer for it 2 months ago for Thanksgiving, and the cinematography looks beautiful. So that's the main reason why I want to watch it.
Is it in French?
Yes.
Whoa, that's cool.
And that's another reason why I think it'd be really cool.
That would be cool.
I'll watch it.
Yeah. I don't actually know. I need to look at the list of what's coming out in 24, or maybe y'all have some ideas. I'm not sure.
I don't.
I mean, I can kind of remember them off the top of my head. I know Despicable Me 4 is coming out. I mean, here's my thing is like, I'm probably going to enjoy them no matter what. Like I was a person that watched Minions Rise of Gru.
I didn't watch the third one.
I don't know if I watched the third one or not. Was that the one with Drew and Gru?
I don't know. I think I've only watched
Kung Fu Panda 4 is also coming out, I believe.
Which
we love Kung Fu Panda. So
we do too.
Talk about that a bit. Now,
wait. Well, actually, it looks like we're just looking at a few.
Lord of the Rings.
A new Lord of the Rings. I don't know.
Yeah, I did see that one's coming out.
Inside Out 2.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. That's gonna be the best movie of 2024. Inside Out 2. I'm calling it. I want to have a color party for Inside Out to where everybody brings snacks of a certain emotions color. And I don't know. I saw that on Instagram. My thing is, I do love Inside Out 1. We do differ a little bit on loving it.
A lot on that.
But
I did not like.
I still haven't seen it. Actually.
I don't want to say I don't want to spend too much time on it. I do think Bing Bong's death scene is a top 3 heart wrenching scene in Disney movie history. But that's all I'll say. So
I don't even know what that tells me about you. I don't know. I can't.
That's how I feel about the Songbirds and Snakes. I feel like my brain is quit working, and I feel like I have the wrong opinion. So I can't get over that. We also saw. Personally, I'm a big weather fan, and there's a new Twister movie coming out, which may be pretty cool because
that's crazy.
I don't know if y'all have seen the original, but actually pretty great movie. At least it's very kind of captivating, I'd say.
Yeah.
Okay. I know we actually kind of missed this one from last year, but the Super Mario Bros. Movie did come out last year. Did want to shout it out. It was pretty cool, but that's all I can say about it.
And speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, we saw on my bachelor trip, Graham, as you'll remember, and it was specifically. Can you specifically with our crew, and I do love all of my guys, of course. Specifically, there were about 3 or 4 that were really into it, and the rest were not as into it, and maybe even a few were asleep in the theater, but that's okay.
All
right. Now, I personally loved it. I would say it was one of the more emotional Marvel movies, and there were probably some goofy scenes, but very emotional just in general. I don't even think you have to group it in Marvel. Like if somebody was to turn that on, they would be like, it's very, very intense, a lot of injustice, a lot of like deep emotions, and
a lot of raccoons, and you love raccoons.
Raccoons, my favorite animal, the state animal of Tennessee, my home state. So,
man, it was actually amazing. I wish we could say more about it too, but I'd agree. One other thing that we forgot to mention is somehow we haven't watched it, and I kind of feel like y'all haven't watched it either. Was the Little Mermaid movie? We didn't watch it. We
Like, I
actually
never-
didn't, somehow we didn't hear anything about it. Like
Yeah.
we were like, oh, did it just not happen? Like I didn't
Yeah.
hear any feedback. So
Yeah, some movies slip by like that, which is unfortunate. We have not seen it. I would be down. The thing is, I don't think I've actually seen the original, so I probably should watch that one first. And I haven't seen a lot of Disney movies. Probably a little bit embarrassing.
well,
Yeah, we watched Fox in the House for the first time.
oh,
His first
buddy.
one.
Hank's Copper.
It was sweet. It
Well,
was sweet.
I could be Todd, sure. I will say it's less than a minute. It's been a pleasure, man. We would love to sit here and talk all day. I know that Hank and Corrie are watching Step Sing. It's going to be great. Can't wait to talk about it. We love you guys a lot. This was great.
It was great. I love y'all too. I was just gonna say, roll pack out, boys. I hope we get the job done. But I'm excited for another year stepping and singing on the grid. Friday night. If anybody's listening to the podcast, we'll be there.
All right. Peace.
All right. See you.
Love it.
Bye.
Bye.